have with us Rayan and Divyam for the next episode of our series. Divyam and Rayan both are third year BCom honors students. We're super excited to know more about your journey and your 3 years at SRCC. So we'll quickly get started with the first question. So, as a fresher, what did you imagine your 3 years at SRCC to look like? Anybody, if you could go first.
I think it's the dream of every student in this country to get admission in SRCC, being the top commerce college of the country. And you sort of think at that time, and I'm sure a lot of freshers who will be watching this video must also be thinking that, okay, now that I have been admitted in a prestigious college, I'll end up having good internship, I'll end up having good placements, or I'll succeed in whatever I touch upon, right? And I think I was no different, and I was really happy and really excited once I got admission into the college. So this was my initial imagination of how the college life will pan out to be. But once you actually step foot into college, you realize that it's not as easy as you thought it will be, right? And I mean, I as a fresher had very little idea of, let's say, what college societies are, or what are the activities that one should take up after joining college. So after I spent some time in college, let's say maybe the initial couple of weeks, I experienced mixed emotions. So the college brought about a lot of fun with itself, but at the same time, I could sense the competitive spirit interacting with the sharpest brains across the country, each having their own different perspective of life, right? So I realized that it's going to be a challenging 3 years where I'll get immense opportunities for learning in the form of, let's say, different societies, different internships, by participating in quite a few competitions. And at the same time, I'll have to put my best foot forward if I have to succeed, be it academics or non-academics. So it did not really take me long to get this kind of reality check.
Great, great. Fine.
Yeah, so to be very honest, like SRCC is in a very household name from where I come from. So I spent my high school years in Pune. So here people are more focused towards, I would say, like symbiosis or NMIMS. So like when I was entering SRCC, I had no idea what to expect. But like in, I would say, Maharashtra, people know DU, that DU has very high cutoffs. It's not up to our level. So that's what I've always known DU as. So when I joined SRCC, I have zero expectations what to expect. And the first orientation itself, I was like, okay, wow. So this is going to be a challenging 3 years. So like, very quickly, as a first year, you get bombarded with a lot of societies, then, internships, which all companies come, and how important placements are here. And, the various opportunities you get to develop and, grow as a person. So I knew that these 3 years are going to be one of the most challenging things I've ever experienced. But yeah, initially when I entered SRCC, I had no expectations. I knew that anything could happen here. So I was ready for anything. Yeah.
Okay, I think a lot of us relate with that. So since both of you didn't have a lot of expectations, did you have any main goals, or did you plan something that these are the set of things that I want to achieve in the course of 3 years?
Right. Yeah. So honestly speaking, I did not have any fixed goals in mind at the time of entering college. I wanted to have a first-hand experience of different things in order to decide what's best for me, what can add value to me, and where I can contribute to the best of my abilities. Right. Ultimately, from the point of view of my career, the ultimate objective was to end up with a good placement. But I did not have any fixed plan or a fixed template to follow in order to achieve the same. I just wanted to ensure that I'm following the right process. I give my 100% in whatever I do, and not worry too much about the result. Yeah, so I genuinely believe that if you try to focus a lot on your result and stop focusing on your process, you kind of stop enjoying what you are doing, and you start taking too much pressure on yourself, right? Which I think ultimately defeats the learning process. So I mean, instead of thinking that, okay, I'll join X number of societies, I'll get Y number of viewers, I'll do Z number of internships, my ultimate focus or my objective was to discover what I want to do, and then make sure that I'm taking the right steps in order to achieve the same. Yeah.
Yeah, so for me also was a bit similar to what Divyam said. So I mean, usually for undergrad students, there are three options which we have. So first is, after you finish it, you either take up a job or you do a master's, or you do either take a gap year, or you start your own startup or something along those fields. So very early on I knew that I want a job, because masters in India is something I wasn't too keen about, so something I want to do in the future maybe, but probably abroad. So yeah, I knew that job was something which was very crucial to me at the starting of the first year. And joining early on, you get to know that I'm at the best place for the perfect job opportunities. um, so to achieve that goal, so I would say I'm someone who likes to just do things that actually make an impact upon, or something I'm actually deeply passionate about. So yeah, that's something I was really clear about, that just take a few things which I genuinely interested in, try to make an impact, and focus with that. So I joined three societies, I was a part of the football team, so whatever I did, I wanted to make sure it is pretty well rounded. So that was my starting goal in college, at least.
Right. So since both of you mentioned your starting goals, did things go as per the plan or as per you imagined them to be? And also just take us through your 3 years at SRCC.
Sure. So, I mean, like I said, I did not have any fixed or a rigid plan in mind at the time of joining college. I was pretty flexible and I went with the flow and took up the different challenges as they came, and made sure that I'm adapting myself as per the needs of the situation in order to sail through those challenges. But I mean, even if you have any specific plan in mind, things always do not pan out as you want them to, right? I mean, who would have thought of a world where everybody would have to shift to a virtual setup midway and learning would take place online, right? So basically, what I'm trying to convey is that irrespective of the fact that whether you have plans for something or not, you need to be flexible and you need to adapt as per the changing circumstances in order to actually sail through those challenges. So, right, coming to the second part of the question, that is my 3 years at SRCC. So, yeah, like I mentioned, initially I wanted to explore different opportunities to actually discover what I want to do and to see what's providing me the right amount of balance going forward. Midway through this tenure, we had to shift to a virtual setup, obviously, and this allowed me to take some time and try out my hands at quite a few other things as well. So I took up internships at a couple of startups during this point, as well as did a few online courses on analytics like Excel, Tableau, and did a few finance courses as well during this point. And I remember I participated in a lot of case competitions as well during this phase. So this is how I spent my first year. And moving on to the second year, so I took up a POR position of responsibility at 180 Degrees Consulting, as I felt that consulting is something which is really different and interesting, and I wanted to explore it further. And this experience was really crucial for me in developing those problem solving and analytical skills, which helped me throughout the course of my 3 years, and I'm sure it will help me going forward as well. And apart from that, I think the virtual setup again allowed me to spend some more time to gain formal work experience. So I interned at another startup during this time. I think by this time I had spent some quality time interning at startups. I had interned in three startups by this point of time, and I wanted to explore a bit in other organizations as well. So at the fag end of my second year, I did an internship at Nestle India before finally doing my summer internship at EY. So I think the second year provided me a diverse experience of working in different types of organizations like startups as well as the corporates. And at the same time, I also worked in quite a few domains like research, data analysis, consulting, marketing, and a bit of product development as well. So that is all about my second year. And moving on to the final year, so at the onset of the final year, I was promoted as the co-president at 180 DC, and alongside it, I think like everybody else, I began my preparation for the placement season, and like everybody else, made my own case groups and practice with my peers, right? But I genuinely believe that it was not those 2 months of preparation, but I think the previous 2 years of hard work, which were sort of instrumental in for me in getting those offers. So I think long story short, what I'm trying to convey is that you need to be consistent throughout the tenure or throughout the course of your 3 years, and ultimately your efforts will bear fruit. So yeah.
I can say on behalf of everyone that nobody expected their 3 years on at SRCC to go like this. So, we joined first year, getting to know people, experiencing the culture here, DU culture altogether, and, basically settling down in Delhi. And then the pandemic hit us. So, I would say for at least few people, it could have been a blessing in disguise. Like, at least personally for me, it was because I'm talking about my professional life. So I was able to accomplish a lot more. I was able to, experience a lot more things I definitely would not have started if I was in college. So yeah, but still, as Divyam said, you have to be flexible. You have to adapt to change. You have to be, kind of active with whatever you do. So, I mean, talking about my first year, I was keen. I was only keen in three societies, to be honest. So those are the only ones I applied to. So I was in the 180 DC Consulting Society. I was in the placement cell, and I was in the sports committee. Along with that, took part in a few competitions here and there. Was an active member of the football team. So I would say 80%, no, I would say 60% of my time went for training for football. So first it was a bit hard because you have to go to college at 7 a.m. So thankfully I lived in a PG nearby, but people living in Gurgaon or Noida, they have to wake up at 5:30 and travel to college every morning. So, and after that going and, attending your classes, you end up missing quite a lot. So, maintaining that balance was pretty challenging for me, at least personally. So that's why I would say majority of my first year went. Then midway through our second sem is when we were hit by the pandemic. So I mean that time was pretty confusing for everyone. I'm guessing because nobody from our generation has experienced anything like this specifically. So yeah, we're just trying to settle down as to what's kind of happening here. And in my second year, then I would say actually we started working towards whatever we had planned at least. So yeah, again post I was more intrigued towards the sports committee, so I was elected as a joint secretary there. So I was leading the entire committee, which was I would say quite a experience for me. So never really had such leadership experiences before. So taking charge of so many people, actually leading a team, you always have to be active, thinking of new ideas. So I would say at least intellectually it helped me grow quite a lot. Along with that, the basics. I did an internship at Bajaj FinServ. I did a few online courses on financial markets, data analysis. Did a few consulting courses as well. So I would say that, to be honest, is pretty standard for most of the people in second years. So yeah, I think most of you all should be ready for that, as second year is by far your most challenging year. You have one more subject, you'll be leading a society. First year, you get to enjoy it. Third year, no societies, placements hopefully gets over quickly. So second years, I would say is the do or die year for you. So yeah, just I mean, juniors be ready for that. But after that, third year, thankfully, I was pretty clear as to what my plans were. So I knew I wanted a consulting job. It is a very daunting experience, the placement season. So it's like I know, like okay, kind of not what I did myself, but I was throughout like very shortlist nahi what's the point? Why should I prepare? And yeah, but I did like Monitor Deloitte was the first actual interview I gave. So that's the point that you just need one opportunity to get a job. So no matter what, don't quit. Just keep on working, keep on working. So that's one key giveaway I would say for most of the juniors.
Right. So Ryan, you mentioned that you're really passionate about sports and you've taken on to pursue this passion during your college life as well. But was there any point in time where you were quite overwhelmed with all your college commitments and managing this passion of yours together, and where you felt it was hard to manage your time and give due attention to both?
Yeah, so obviously, unfortunately, I only got to play in my first year. So 2 years was pretty crucial that I missed out on. But yeah, definitely my first year was very challenging. So as I mentioned previously, thankfully I lived near college, so I didn't have to wake up too early. But still, reaching college 7 in the morning and training till around 9:30, 10, like 5 days a week was, physically and mentally exhausting because you missed practically 2 of your lectures. And thankfully, again, I had teachers who were very accepting to this. So, their internals or something coming up and we had a tournament, they'd postpone it for us or give us some freedom as to what dates you want to pick. So, yeah, the SRCC teachers, I would say, are very accepting. I think most of them are pretty accepting to that. So after that, you attend the rest of your classes. Then you have your society work. Then you have to go and catch up on the things you've done in exams, internals, competitions. So it is challenging, but again, it's about your mindset. So it's important to be active. If you're slacking behind for a week or so, it's not going to work like that in SRCC at least. So it's important to be active and do what you actually enjoy. So like even though you're working hard, you're enjoying what you're doing. So I'd say that I could have done better, obviously, but I had a positive mindset throughout, so which helped me get through it. But yeah, definitely it was pretty challenging.
All right. So Divyam, as you said that you come from you have a passion for consulting and you come from a really strong consulting background, being the co-president at 180 DC and then having to manage so many consulting projects during your internships as well. And then in the end, landing a job at Nomura. Do you think how did this switch happen for you? Did you plan on it or was it just something that you went with the flow to it?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question, and I think I was asked something on these lines during my Nomura interview as well. And he was asked me that your entire profile is full of consulting. How did you end up in this finance interview? At the back of my mind, I always had this that as in when I get an opportunity, I'll definitely go for it because I've always had an interest towards finance, though I do not have much of a formal experience to back it up. I was pretty open and pretty flexible that I'll see what companies are coming and if the profile suits me, if the profile seems interesting to me. So irrespective of whatever domain is it consulting, is it marketing, is it finance, I'll definitely go for it irrespective of that. So I think I was pretty clear on those aspects. I think the key takeaway here should be that you cannot really predict what will happen, right? So you need to be open and you need to have that flexible mindset while sitting for your interviews or for that matter doing anything once you join college. So you need to be flexible, adapt yourself as per the circumstances, and you will definitely sail through all those challenges. Yeah.
So Divyam, as you mentioned that you were aware that you do not have any much formal work experience in finance for that matter, and
Yeah.
you were still open to all kinds of roles. So this is something that the first year also come across the second years when they, jump into the internship season, because a lot of finance companies visit the campus, but as first years, we do not really have a lot of exposure to finance or have a lot of work experience in finance. So would you say that it acted as a hurdle in your interview experience that you did not have any work experience, say, in finance?
Not really. I mean, I always had the option, first of all, to go for finance internship at the second year. I did not do that, but I think it does not really matter whether you have formal prior experience or not. It all matter. What matters is your interest. I think if you have interest in a particular aspect, you'll definitely take the initial steps in order to go for the same, right? And I think. For finance interviews, if you talk about the prerequisite knowledge, I think companies do not really go into that details, into that nitty gritties. I mean, Nomura especially did not go into the in-depth knowledge of finance. I think if you even have the basic knowledge of finance and if you prepare, I think for uh, for a bit about let's say a week before your interview, I think you will be good to go and you will be able to sail through the process. So yeah, that's about it.
Okay, okay. So now that you guys are almost halfway through your third year, you have your exams approaching. With hindsight, do you think you could have done anything differently in the last 2 years? Would you change anything?
All right. Yeah, I mean, so looking back in hindsight, I mean, there are always a certain things which, if you would have done a bit differently, you could have, let's say, become a better version of what you are right now, right? But but these ifs and buts are always there. These ifs and buts will always be there, right? I mean, it's not like mathematical formula, right, in which you apply certain inputs and you'll get the result in front of you. Life's journey does not go like this, right? So you have to take that calculated risk and try out different things. Some things will work for you, some things won't. You will eventually learn from your mistakes, you'll learn from the entire process, and you'll move on. I'm pretty satisfied with whatever I have done and whatever I have achieved over the past 2 years. Obviously, like I said, I can count 100 things on my fingertips which I did not do, right? And I think having done that would have made me would have boosted my skills and had boosted my profile even further. But I think it's fine, and it's been a great learning curve for me personally these 3 years, and I'll make sure that I implement these learning outcomes going forward, and I'll suggest everybody to do the same as well. Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, it's a process. Like so, on where I am currently, I'm pretty happy with what I've done till now, what I've achieved, how I'm feeling internally. So, like obviously, there's going to be thousand things in your head. Ki, yeah, I could have spent more time doing this. I should have done an internship here. I should have spent more time here. Shouldn't have gone out that night. It doesn't matter. Like there's always going to be 100 different things which you're going to think. So nobody's ever going to be perfect. So, but the way I've spent my time, the way the process I've been through to reach where I am now, I'm happy with what I've done, what I've achieved. So, yeah, there's nobody's going to be perfect. Just be happy with what you've done. Just make sure you're active, and I don't think anyone will have many regrets with what they've done till now. Again, like so I started my own startup in my second year. Like I was thinking that maybe if I started it 6 7 months earlier, would have been a lot more better than when I started it then. So like there are going to be a lot of small things constantly coming in your head, but it's important to just be happy with what you've done. Try to improve yourself more, but yeah, there's nothing that I regret too deeply.
All right. So when I think Ishita would agree with me, when we first entered college, I think we had a lot of misconceptions, and right after, say, the first 2 months, the reality check actually hit us. So, were there any misconceptions that you guys had about college that were cleared out maybe in the course of two years?
All right. So I think you will come across a variety of opinions as a fresher, right? And I mean, especially being in SRCC, you'll often hear people on the outside who are not in college. They'll say that, okay, you are so lucky, you are in SRCC, you'll get whatever you will touch will turn gold, you will achieve whatever you want to, right? So this is the sort of conception or thought process which people have about college, right? And I think it's really important to stay away from these misconceptions, because I think at the end of the day, you are in SRCC, you are amongst, let's say, the top 1,000 students of the country, the population of India, right? So, yeah, so I think it's important that you do not have these preceded notions in your mind and start like a fresh slate, like start on a blank slate. So I think that is one misconception which people generally have, and I also had about college. And I think secondly, talking about the career. So in my first year, I had heard, and I'm sure a lot of maybe Ryan had also heard, and others would have also heard that if you do not get a POR in college, then you'll not be able to secure a good internship or a good placement on campus from the point of view of a career. But as I mentioned, I think it's really important to stay away from these misconceptions, because I know for a fact a lot of people who without POR have been able to go get those on-campus internships and job offers. So by this, I do not mean that PORs are not important. PORs are definitely one of the most crucial aspect, because ultimately it helps you develop those leadership skills, which again is one of the most important traits with recruiters look for. But I think not having a PR does not mean the end of the world. See, everybody has their own story, everybody has their own aspirations, and as long as your story is being conveyed in the right way to the recruiter or the company, I think you'll be fine. So yeah, it's important to stay away from these misconceptions at the time of entering with your college life. Yeah.
When you enter as a first year, you're bombarded with ki, bro, join this society, join that society. मतलब इसमें तो job लग जाएगा, internships के लिए चाहिए तो you have to join this society. But honestly, it doesn't really matter. You have to focus on, okay, are you interested in it? Is it something which intrigues you, or something you're already passionate about? Focus on that. Focus on things where you'll actually make an impact. Don't need to listen to noise by others कि भाई ये नहीं करेगा तो हाँ जॉब कैसे लगेगी तेरी मतलब फुटबॉल खेल के मतलब what's going to happen society join कर ले so it doesn't matter what like as long as you're passionate about it, you're making an impact, you're enjoying what you're doing, I think continue doing it. Like I'm not saying you just sit back and do nothing, but yeah, make sure you're working, but doing things which are actually making an impact and things which can help you grow in the future. I mean, I've seen many places say कि SRCC so toxic, सब यहाँ पे सांप है, stuff like that. And I mean, I personally just don't understand कि मतलब what's the reasoning behind it. I see everyone knows everyone's working. Like nobody's going to announce everything. Yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. So just I would say everyone just put your head down and do what you're interested in. Don't care about what others are doing. So yeah, this mindset I think for SRI, so everyone needs to go. It's nothing toxic. It is a competitive industry now, so everyone's going to be working harder to what they want. So just sit down and do your work. But yeah, that's it.
Definitely, that's something that students should keep in mind. Okay, so moving on, Ryan, you briefly mentioned about your startup, DU BookX. So how did you get that idea and why did you pursue it? What was your inspiration behind that?
Yeah, so the idea of DU BookX is floating around in, I would say, September, October in my third semester of college. So this was, I would say the first wave was kind of going on. And, as most of DU students know that when it comes to books, we only get it when our internals or exams are coming. It's not like we don't study throughout the semester. It's never like that. So we thought that books are actually pretty expensive and we use them for like a month, so it made sense for there to be a market where you can buy and sell first and second hand books, which we personally like a few of my friends and I thought was missing. So again, our internals were coming, we were looking for books, we were seeing if we can get second hand books, we couldn't. So we as somebody who likes taking up a challenge, we thought let's just do it ourselves. So a few months of planning, some research, and we thought chalo, let's go ahead with it. So in December, we launched it. We first on social media. Then we made our own website also a month or two later. So yeah, overall it's been pretty successful. But yeah, again, like on top of that, as I mentioned, I'm someone who likes actually making an impact. I don't like doing something for the sake of doing it. So obviously, in internships and societies, you're working. You make a decent impact, but I thought I could do a lot better than that. So here it's like I'm actually running something. It's actually changing people's lives. So that's kind of what even motivated me furthermore. So and along with that, certain other things like I know that Amazon horrendously overcharge for their books, and the vendors outside you also they also must have been like not too happy with the pandemic as most of their clientele kind of disappeared. So, I thought it'd be a win-win for everyone. Give students cheaper books, utilize second-hand books as well. Vendors get some money as well, and even it's a good learning experience for us as well. So, we went ahead with it. It's been pretty successful till now. So, yeah, that's pretty much the experience now. And I would say, the second part of the question, it has helped me in college. Like, I mean, being in SRCC has helped me a lot. So, interacting with my teachers, my peers, my seniors, getting to know more, getting to learn more from them, getting their insights as well has helped the business grow as well. And along with that, I would say me being in DBookX has helped my college life as well. So it's not like it's just a place where we sell books. It's like a community that we're trying to build. So it's not like an Amazon, you just go click the link and buy it. So I would say like 90%, 80% of our orders are through our social media accounts. So it's not like they come say, we want this book. So, we recommend, this book would be more suitable for you. Whether you should buy first hand or second hand, which author would make more sense, which subjects you should go for. So it's more of as I said, a community, what you're trying to build. So overall, yeah, DBookX I would say, has been a pretty successful operation.
I think I got a bit late. I just purchased my books yesterday.
Okay.
All right. So coming to you, Divyam. Now, you said that you had many off-campus internships and experiences. Do you think that having an on-campus internship somewhere or the other influences someone's placements?
I think on-campus internships definitely give you, as well as as well as the recruiter as well, the confidence that okay, this person has been through the process earlier, right? But I think if you ask me that whether an on-campus internship is a necessary factor for a person to secure a placement, I think that's an absolutely no, because a lot of people, including me myself, have been able to secure an on-campus placement despite not having an on-campus internship, right? So I think it ultimately boils down to what work have you done in your internship, um, what does your profile communicate overall, and what story does your profile communicate to the recruiter, right? So as long as you are doing what you want to, and you are doing your areas of interest, you're working further in honing your skills towards your areas of interest, I think it will reflect on your profile automatically, and it will not matter whether it's on campus or off campus. And I mean, I think in the first place, the fact that an internship is on campus or not should not be the deciding criteria for you to apply for it, right? Doing an internship just for the sake of it without having any interest or a formal work experience, without having any interest or let's say learning opportunities in it, would not serve any purpose, right? So I think it's really important to enjoy what you are doing. And I think whatever internship serves your interest and serves your expectations, you should go for it definitely, irrespective of the fact that it's on campus or off campus. So yeah.
All right. Okay, so apart from the points that you mentioned, do you think there are certain other factors also that someone should keep in mind while going for an off-campus internship in their field of interest over an on-campus internship?
um, No, I think so. First of all, it all depends upon what profile is being offered to you, right? So the most important is the work you are doing, right? So and the second thing is your interest towards that work, right? So as I mentioned, if you do not have an interest in a particular thing, you'll not be able to give your best. You'll not be able to enjoy that, and if you're not able to enjoy that, you'll not have those learning outcomes from it, right? So it's pretty important to have an interest in what you are doing.
Okay, so now that we've talked about internships in societies at length, do you guys think that there are some other things that people can do at SRCC apart from this conventional stream, just to learn more, explore more?
Right. So, I mean, I think the best thing about SRCC is that you'll never be short of opportunities at your disposal. So, and I think the first year is the best time to explore these opportunities. There are literally a zillion things which you can do at SRCC. Obviously, conventional things are joining societies, doing internships, doing competitions. But apart from that, I think there are a lot of other things which you can do. Maybe you can try your hands at a research paper. Maybe you can do some projects. It can be research projects, consulting projects, or any projects for that matter. Or maybe as we have the live example in front of us, you can start your own startup. So I think the number of opportunities for you are potentially endless. So it's very important to have an open mind and explore different the plethora of opportunities that the college has to offer. And then based on that, based on seeing whether you are suiting well in those opportunities, are they interesting you or not, you can take a further direction as to what you actually want to do going forward. So yeah.
To be very honest, DU Book X has by far, like my startup has been by far the best learning experience I've ever had. Like running your own business, knowing what goes behind it. Like it seems simple on paper that we're just selling first and second hand books, but when you actually start getting down to it, finding shipping partners during the pandemic, finding various vendors, finding people for notes and readings, finding databases for people to approach, finding customers, making content. It's a lot of work which goes behind it, and you're kind of involved everywhere. Yeah, I would say startups have been doing very well, at least in India, and ever since the pandemic. So yeah, definitely something I would recommend people to take up. And yeah, it's not only internships and societies people can do. You're just in a sport, take it up. You want to learn in 2 3 new, you want to learn Spanish, French. take it up. There's nothing holding you back. So just feel free to what you do. Again, keep an open mind, try to explore as much as you can. Anything seems interesting, go ahead with it. Like now, I mean, we're doing bachelor's in commerce, God knows what we'll do in 10 years. So it's important to, explore as much as you can. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Great. Okay, so just to stay true to the name of this series, what would be your, final piece of advice to the batch of 2024 that are just going to start with their college and how they can make the best out of their 3 years?
I can give ample number of tips as to what a fresher should take care of at the time of entering college. So I'll try to just keep it concise. So I think these 3 years are by far the most interesting and the most eventful phase of your life, right? There will be a lot of ups and downs throughout this journey, lots of highs and lows throughout. So it's very important to ensure that you're not carried away by those highs, or let's say not bogged down by those lows, right? Secondly, I think it's always helpful to build a good network and interact with people who have been through that grind, who have been through that journey, and learn from their experiences. Right. Apart from that, academics are one of the most important things of your college life, which not a lot of people will tell you. So it's really important to maintain a balance between your academics and extracurriculars, because I think once you step foot into college, you are, as Ryan said, you are bombarded with a lot of societies, and you sort of tend to forget academics during this phase. So I think do not overshadow them at all, and maintain a balance in these two things. And I think apart from that, yeah, so you'll encounter a lot of competition in SRCC, but it's important that you channelize that competition to your advantage rather than being affected by it, right? So these are some general pieces of advice. And now I'll also talk about certain things that what you should keep in mind during each year of college. So I think during first year, so I've said it and I'll repeat it, that first year is the best time to explore different opportunities at your disposal, to see what is providing you that balance going forward, right? In the second year, see, it's the most hectic year of your life without a question, and of your college life. And I think you also have your internship season during the second year, and it's probably the first time you go through this formal campus recruiting process. So it's very important not to overthink and stay calm during this entire process. So prepare for your companies well. See, there will be lots of ups and downs, as I mentioned. There might be a situation where you're not selected in a company, or for that matter, you're not even shortlisted in that company you were aspiring for, right? So it's pretty important not to dwell upon these failures and continue to move ahead, right? You should have a broader vision in mind, and these small deterrents should not hold you back from pursuing your other commitments. So let's say you're not selected in the company, you should not cry over it for a week and stop working on your academics or your society. Your aim should be to continue going forward irrespective of these challenges, which will come throughout the process. So you need to be strong. And moving on to the final year. So yeah, final year is like the most important, and it's the year where you kind of have that burden that, okay, what if I do not get a placement? What if I'm not able to clear that exam? So this is a time where you can tend to self-doubt and self-doubt your abilities, right? So it's very important to stay positive and do not have those negative thoughts creep into your mind during this point of time, right? And as I mentioned, your focus should be on what's in your control. You should focus on your controllables, that is your preparation, and I think the result will take care of itself. And again, there might be a situation. So see, the placement season is, if I talk specifically about the placement season, it's very hectic, and there might be a situation where you're having back-to-back interviews. So if you're not, let's say you're not selected in a previous interview, you should not have that failure still dwelling in your mind. You should learn to leave those failures behind and move forward. Otherwise, you'll not be able to perform in the next round as well, in the next interview as well. So it's pretty important that you have a fresh perspective, you stay calm during the entire phase, and I think you'll eventually succeed. And as I mentioned earlier, that things always do not work out as you wish them to, right? So even if you have certain aspirations in mind and you're not able to achieve it, do not consider yourself as worthless. Do not consider yourself to be a failure. The number of opportunities for you are potentially endless. being especially being at SRCC. So you need to be flexible, and you need to have an open mind and move on to other things rather than looming over those failure, right? To end on a lighter note, I think these are the most fun years of your life. So make sure that you have a lot of fun. You won't get these 3 years back ever. So make sure that you hang out with your friends, have a good bunch of people whom you can confide in, and I think as long as you are maintaining a balance, you will be good to go.
I knew that this is going to happen to my second and third. I would have told myself, ki, just enjoy more. If you're tired, you had a long day, your friends are calling you out, go out. It's fine. One year, just your first is you get to your new city. I mean, at least for me, new city, meeting new people, new experience altogether. So do as much as you can, explore as much as you can. And SRCC gives so many opportunities. You're interested in investing, finance, consulting, sports, dance, music. You can do anything in SRCC. So it's important to keep an open mind. You see what's going on around you. Keep updated with your surroundings. So yeah, it's important to explore as much as you can. That's number one. Second is please do not fall under whatever people are telling you to do. It's really not important to do the mainstream thing. You don't I mean, see, if you want to experience a lot of things, you want to explore a lot of things. Yeah, go join 7-8 societies as Divyam did. If you fixated, what this is what you want to focus on. So like how I did, focus on your 2-3 societies, but don't be someone these people are telling you ki bro, join this society, you have to join like 10-12 societies, tabhi hoga kuch dhang ka. You don't need to do anything like that. Focus on what you're passionate about, what your goals are. Second year, I would say, is like the most challenging year. You have more subjects. I think I would say they were harder subjects as well. And along with that, majority of the people would be leading a society. So a lot of you might not have the best work-life balance, but I would say again, it's important to have everything in balance. So at that point in college, it's like people are competing over who has lower attendance, which I don't recommend. I do not recommend, but it kind of happens. But yeah, it's important to maintain your GPA, attend classes. I'm not saying attend every single class, but attend as much as you can. Make sure you're active in societies. If you want to do internships, do internships. See, you kind of have to have an idea now as to what you want to do in the future. So have a basic plan as to how you want to go about it. Like I knew that I wanted a job in consulting, so I started working towards that. So now your third year is basically the last jump. So year could be, I would say, more emotionally draining for a lot of people because countless, like so many companies come and you see majority of the time it's the same people getting shortlisted again and again, and you're not making it anywhere. So you might feel that, okay, yeah, now what should I do at any point also? So it's important to be positive. It's just that one opportunity you need.
Thank you so much, Ryan and Divyam. It was lovely having you guys, and I'm sure that people watching this would definitely take something away from this, and it'll help them in their 3 years. Again, thank you so much.